It's an Eastern Conference showdown as the Indiana Pacers come into town for this one. Kevin Harlan here with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. We welcome you to 2K Sports Wednesday night broadcast of the NBA. Taking a look at Atlanta. Guys, when you compare their performance last season to where they sit right now, not a whole lot different story. Not necessarily a big surprise either.
You know, I think for the Hawks, they've had trouble maintaining any kind of positive momentum this season. I think that's why we see them where we do in the standings right now.
Yeah, it's been a little disjointed in terms of the path this season has taken. A little bit up, a little bit down. But the NBA is so competitive. A lot of great teams out there. It's tough to build momentum.
And now the opening lineup for Indiana, courtesy of State Farm. Granger, Hansbrough, and Hibbert are the front court. Collison is out there with Paul George. And for the Hawks, Williams and Smith are in there at the forward positions. Heinrich and Johnson in the backcourt. And it's Horford at the center. Now Collison. Josh Smith missing from long range. Williams against Collison. Just 5 to shoot. And it's Johnson picking him up. Collison's shot is good.
Boy, that is just good stuff for him. Nice touch.
Here's the Hawks with the ball. It's a 3-point game.
I think Darren Collison is penciled in as the Pacers point guard of the future, and with blazing speed and a really insatiable appetite for the game, the future's bright for him.
Moments ago, our Doris Burke had a chance to catch up with the coach, Frank Vogel. Doris.
Kevin, to sum up his goal, he said that everyone needs to have the same mindset on defense today or they won't have success. He warned his team that they're up against a unit that will capitalize on every mistake they make, so they can't get caught daydreaming on defense. Stay awake, Kevin.
Thanks, Doris. So keeping the opposing shooters in check, guys, they're making that a very high priority right now.
Easier said than done, though. I mean, they've got a lot of sharpshooters and guys that can fill it up.
Yeah, the big thing is you want to challenge every shot. I mean, you just can't give these guys airspace because they'll make you pay.
Now here's Heinrich after Darren Collison's miss. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there. Well, Darren Collison's shooting percentages fell back to earth a bit last season following his scintillating rookie season. But Steve, he's still plenty dangerous offensively.
Well, he's so quick, and he can get around his defender at will, and he's added that jump shot. He's gotten much better with that shot. So Darren Collison, a guy who can beat you in a lot of different ways.
And a change here for the Pacers. Rush is checked in.
And Josh Smith has always been so talented for that Atlanta Hawks team. But last season, I think he matured quite a bit. He became a team captain and really took on more of a leadership role for the Atlanta squad.
Hansbrough, that's good.
That was a nice finish to an excellent possession.
Here is Heinrich. Going back to Smith, he has become a bit of an elder statesman. Wouldn't you think, Clark, for the Hawks, as this is his 8th season with that team?
Amazing. I didn't realize he had been around that long. It's hard to believe that's the case, but he's definitely taken the younger Hawks under his wing. Please, Kevin, don't believe for a second I intended that pun.
I didn't believe it at all.
Okay.
Here's Horford. The Pacers making the shot. And once again off the mark by Atlanta. Here's Collison. He's coming off a 31-point game against Orlando. Granger backing him down. Baseline try. And again, it's Indiana converting.
You know, for a guy like him who can light it up like that, that's too easy. Boy, the Hawks came into the postseason last year as the 5 seed and really weren't given too much of a chance, but they turned some heads against the Magic.
Heinrich hits to Johnson. He's covered by Collison. Johnson can't get it to go. Well, back to the Hawks. They kind of backed into the postseason, losing, Steve, their last 6 regular season games.
Well, it shows sometimes that the regular season may not make any difference once the playoffs start. I think Atlanta really caught fire in that first round against Orlando, won the series, and then gave Chicago some problems too.
To stop the run, and it's Horford again missing.
You gotta like the defense not quitting on the play and getting a hand in the face.
Sure do. With a tough defender breathing down your neck, that makes it not an easy shot.
Now here's Collison. Granger for the 3. Josh Smith pulls it in. The Hawks trail by 7. Guys are seeing some excellent offensive output.
Yes, sir, fellas. They've had it going on big time.
Big time is right, Clark. A lot of momentum here offensively.
Here's Johnson. He's coming off a 13-point game against Orlando.
They love to see him aggressive like that when he's on the floor, especially when the defense gives him room.
Now Collison. Hibbert with it. Still looking to get on the scoreboard. The feed now to Rush. Dishes to Collison. Over Heinrich. And there are the Pacers with another bucket.
They had a great start offensively.
Yeah, they've come out strong. I mean, really scoring and playing with confidence.
Williams passes to Johnson. Kicks to Heinrich. Back to Johnson. Over Rush. Another miss by Johnson. And here comes Collison. He's got 5. Over Smith. Collison, no good.
That shot was thrown off by his defense, no doubt about it, Steve. Excellent work there.
Yeah, that's about as close as you can come to blocking a shot without actually doing it.
And that.
Next to.
And now the second quarter just getting set to start. Here is Collison. Smith and Horford at the 4 and the 5. Johnson is out there with Teague. And it's Wilkins in at the 3 slot. That's the group starting the second quarter for the Hawks. And Foster backs in. Here's Hansbrough. Rebound Atlanta. This their first chance this season playing the Pacers.
Yeah, I think they're a little better than this ball club. And it showed last year winning the season series.
Teague dishes to Johnson. Gets the bucket from 20 feet away. Johnson's got the first basket of the second quarter for the Hawks. Steve just mentioned how they won the season series a year ago. That was the way it went against most teams they faced.
True. They were a very hard team to get the best of, Kevin.
Collison up top. Now here is George. Over Johnson. The shot by George, no good. Now Teague. He's against Collison. Teague kicks to Smith. Johnson outside. With the clock winding down. The kick out to Wilkins. Back to Horford. Second chance shot with 1 on the clock. And he sails in for the layup.
And I think one of the most underrated aspects of Al Horford's game is his mid-range jump shot. I mean, he is really almost automatic from up 16 to 20 feet.
Feeds it to Posey. Now Smith defending. And once again off the mark by Indiana. The Hawks trailing. They come into this one having outplayed the Magic last game.
Well, you're not going to shoot as well as they did in that one and lose too many games. They were on fire.
Yeah, they were. Lights out is how they shot it.
Now here's Johnson. Posey covering. Pulls it from the elbow. And again, Joe Johnson. Johnson's got 4 points now in the quarter. You know, speaking of Al Horford's face-up game last season, from 16 to say 23, 24 feet away, he shot 55%. That was good for number 1 in the league.
Boy, that's a surprising factoid there, Kevin. Wasn't aware of that. Knew he was a really good three-point, mid-range shooter, rather. Didn't know he led the league from that area. So that's a nice weapon. It's also a clear indication that he can be relied upon to spread the floor because he makes that shot so consistently.
And it's good. George has got his first 2 points of the night.
That bounce pass got him the ball in rhythm. Nice play.
Here's Teague. The dish to Johnson. Defended by George. Unloads. And the Hawks getting another basket right there.
And now 6 of their last 10 points from mid-range.
Yeah, jump shot really serving these guys pretty well. The Pacers handled themselves pretty well against the Eastern Conference last season, 28 and 24. And they seem to be a team on the rise. They've got a lot of young talent. And having made the playoffs last season, they're hoping for more this year.
Here's what Atlanta's going with right now. Pachulia, he's checked in for Horford. Powell comes in for Josh Smith. And Marvin Williams subbed in for Damian Wilkins. And the Pacers also changing it up. Roy Hibbert's checked in for Foster. Josh McRoberts comes in for Tyler Hansbrough. And it's Granger in for James Posey. And for the Pacers last season, finishing 4 games under 500, but they are an ascending ball club as they made the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, they're building it the right way, too. Larry Bird and David Morway putting some pieces together, a nice core group of young, hard-working, talented players. Now you just, with some salary cap room there, perhaps you can add a piece or two to elevate your talent base and your experience level. Being patient, not taking shortcuts, they're headed in the right direction.
Good place to play.
Yeah.
He dishes it to George. Granger outside, fires from deep. The second chance effort, blocked.
This game very well can come down to a few possessions, and if that's the case, rebounding could play large.
Yeah, in a close game like this one, securing the ball is so vital. Probably time to bring an extra defender, change up the defense a little bit.
Well, Steve, he's been so good. I think they got to take the ball out of his hands right now.
Here's the 2K leaderboard of last season's best free throw shooting team. The Pacers in 5th.
You know, it's interesting when you look at this team, Kevin. I mean, they found a way to get their whole team to knock down free throws at a consistent level. I mean, a team that can't make free throws, that's a huge liability and one you don't want to deal with. They'd like to repeat their success at the line this year.
Looking at who's out there now for the Hawks. Collins is checked in, and it's Crawford in for Joe Johnson. Backing down is Hibbert. Just his first attempt. Long on the shot, but gets the roll. And it's all knotted up. Here is Heinrich looking for his first bucket of the game. It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock and game plan. Crawford outside. Posey gets called for the reach. That is his first foul of the game. 15 seconds left now here in the second. Not watching the line there. That'll be a backcourt violation. Here's Ford.
Looks like they're going to hold on to the ball and go for the last shot of the quarter.
Well, clearly this is the time to do it.
That's also good. So he hits both free throws.
Been a good night for Danny Granger. 7 points, and you can add 1 3-pointer to it.
Welcome to the HB Halftime Report. It was the Bobcats with the win against the Cavaliers.
Welcome back, everyone. The second half about to get underway, and it's been a close one so far. On the court for Indiana, Granger, Hansbrough, and Hibbert are the front court. Collison is out there with Paul George. And here's Collison from 20 feet out. The shot by George, no good.
Al Horford got a nice big extension from the Hawks, Kevin, going into last season, and I think he earned every penny of it. He had his best pro season yet.
Collison against Heinrich. Back to Horford. Shot clock at 6. Heinrich hits to Smith. Over Granger. And it's Smith missing. I like that note there on Horford. Clark, he's a terrific player, deserved the money. No drastic changes either in his numbers after the big contract signed. Steve, just a steady improvement in every facet.
Yeah, that's right. Having the career highs in field goal percentage, free throw percentage, assists, points. He's really developed into a rock-solid power forward. Kind of an old-school power forward. He just does a little bit of everything down there.
Indiana leading. Fast break. Here they come. George passes to Hibbert. Takes the assist and lays it in. Picked out the pass nicely.
And I like his aggressiveness going to the hoop using that height advantage.
Some firepower, Clark and Steve, from this offense.
Yeah, Kevin, how about the air of confidence? I mean, they really look like they believe in what they're doing.
Yeah, a little swagger here from this team. They're in a nice groove.
Well, while we have a second, let's go to the 2K leaderboard for a list of the league's top shooters from last season. You look at Al Horford. You know what you're going to get from him day in and day out.
Now, that's the name of the game for him, just putting the ball in the bucket. How about the season he had a year ago?
George against Johnson. Shot denied. Pacers leading by 4. On the wing, Granger. The tray. The shot's good. Collison making the play. Collison's got his 3rd assist on the night. And it's the Hawks with the ball. Nothing yet for them in the 3rd quarter.
Well, Atlanta was in the playoffs a year ago, but they were not as strong as they were the previous year. One of the reasons their home record suffered a bit.
Backing him down is Johnson. The baseline J. Pushes up. And it's Smith finishing it off.
Tell you what, guys, you got to appreciate the way he goes after those offensive rebounds. It's something to watch.
And the strength, Steve, the strength he is on those putbacks is something to see.
Well, we got to witness both of those attributes right there on that play.
And the Pacers call time here. And on that Atlanta Hawk team, still a good team. We talked about the problems at home, not as dominant perhaps as before. I mean, sure, Clark, for every coach, winning at home becomes priority number 1.
You know, and you look at their numbers, they won 34 a season ago and then just 24 in the recent season. I mean, that's a 33% drop. That's a significant change.
It is. Granger outside. There's the pass to Hibbert. Back to Granger. This one for 3. That's good. Granger's got 13 points.
That's now 6 straight points off open threes. Get a hand up, fellas. Pay attention to the scouting report.
Well, you know how quickly things can go south when you start giving up wide open looks to this team.
The Pacers pull it in.
Johnson suffered through a subpar shooting year last season due to that elbow surgery that he had in December. Probably tried to come back a little too quickly, and you could tell it really affected his game.
Granger outside. Over Williams. And again, it's Indiana converting. As we get back to Joe Johnson, Steve just talking about him, and Clark, that elbow, as you mentioned before, gave him trouble all season long.
You know, Kevin, one of the things about being injured and having a surgery is you can get back and play, but it usually takes a full season or half a season before you can give the injury the kind of attention that you want to give it to get well. So that's why the offseason going into next year is going to be really important. It bothered him. I know it did, and he still played through it.
Well, you know, I mean, if you rush getting the guy back on the floor and don't let that injury completely heal, you just cause him more problems.
And that's part of the business of pro sports. When you are able to play, even if you're not 100%, guys feel an obligation to do that, and they also feel pressure to do that.
Picked up by Collison. Granger against Heinrich. Johnson outside. And Johnson missing again.
Been a tough quarter for him. He has not been able to make a shot here.
Collison. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him. Joe Johnson picks one up.
Well, you look at this Pacers roster, a nice young blend of talent and size and versatility. They had the flexibility this past summer to add some other nice players. So this team seems to be on the rise.
And you know, as Steve was just saying about the youth and options for this Indiana team, we were already able to see some of that impact in last year's playoffs.
And that was so important, Kevin, for the team to get to the playoffs, to be able to show the fans that passion and hard work and competitive spirit and promise of the young players. And I think for the fans, it was a case of everybody starting to see that there's new hope in store for the Indiana Pacers going forward.
Here's Crawford. Looking to end the run. Hibbert with the block. Pacers leading by 12. Shot and game clock separated by 5. George up top. Shoots. And once again off the mark by Indiana.
Well, I tell you what, really a good job to get open and then just kind of botch the release.
Here's Crawford, and he beat the buzzer, but it's no good. And as we end the third quarter, a double-digit deficit. And now let's send it to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, for our Sprite Spark of the game. Doris?
And Kevin, for that great stretch the Pacers put together, they get the Sprite Spark Award. Their lead continues to grow as the game progresses. They've shown absolutely no mercy and continue to find a way to add to their lead every trip down the floor, guys.
All right, Doris, thank you. That run has made a difference, guys. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what got them off and going.
Yeah, they were really able to seize the momentum at that point, and they just rode it.
Okay, now let's reset our lineups courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go for this fourth quarter. And so in the game for the Hawks, Smith and Horford at the 4 and the 5. Crawford out there with Teague, and it's Wilkins in at the 3 slot. Hansbrough working against Horford. From 20 feet out, and the basket good. George has got the fourth quarter going with the first basket of the period here for the Pacers. Crawford outside. Wing shot on the way, and the shot is good.
Guys, you're not going to get away with that kind of defense when he's got the ball. I mean, you got to do better than that.
Ford with the ball. Doubled by Smith. Now, here is Ford. Tight defense on him. 2 open that time. Made it look too easy. George has got 5 points now this quarter.
Another open look, hits bottom from outside.
Yep, and that's 3 of their last 5 makes from beyond the arc.
Now Teague and Smith backing in. And Crawford gets it to go on the assist by Smith.
Coming back with a 3 of their own. I like that. Good response.
Yeah, I agree with you. See, this is a team that will not back down. I mean, I'm not surprised to see them answer that way.
And the Pacers call time here.
You know, Josh Smith had a very productive set of games in Atlanta's postseason run last year. I thought he did a lot of things that were important in them being able to win.
Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
Kevin, I was able to hear the advice Frank Vogel gave to his team during that last break. He wants to make sure they stay assertive and aggressive on the offensive end, saying, I don't want to sit on this lead. Let's build on it and not give them a chance of coming back. Guys?
Going back to Smith for just a second, Clark, he might have been the best player for the Hawks in that Bulls series.
Well, he got off to a slow start scoring, but was a monster on the boards for them and really filled up the stat sheet during that series.
Here's Johnson. It's hauled in by George. George has got his 4th rebound in this one. 4 dishes to Hansbrough. Here is McRoberts. Here's Posey. And the 3 off target. Heinrich outside. He kicks it to Johnson. Puts it up. And it's Johnson again missing. Now, here is Ford. George against Heinrich. Gets a look. Josh Smith pulls it in. Smith's got his 5th rebound in this one. Heinrich outside. Back to Smith from 17 feet out. And a great assist by Heinrich as that one goes in.
It's been all about ball movement here. Great passing.
Yeah, anytime you've got an unselfish team, the ball will find the open play.
Indiana making some changes. Roy Hibbert's checked in for Josh McRoberts. Granger comes in for James Posey. And it's Collison in for TJ Ford. Here's Granger. Outside Collison. Guarded by Heinrich. Here's Hibbert. The shot's good. Collison making the play. And the Pacers lead by 14.
Another great job of moving the basketball and finding a good shot.
Steve, that's been the theme for them so far. I mean, they've really worked well as a unit together, and the assist totals echo that.
And here's Heinrich. 6 to shoot. From 20 feet out, Smith gets it to go on the assist by Johnson. That's 7 points for Smith. Here's Collison. 1:22 left to play in the final quarter. Back to Hibbert. Baseline J on the way. The shot's good. Collison making the play. Collison's got 5 assists in the game. The Hawks trail by 14.
Well, you look at all these top-level teams in the NBA, and boy, I really enjoyed last year's playoffs. It was such an open field, competitive action. You really felt that there were a number of teams with a chance to make a deep run.
And it's Indiana's ball. The biggest lead of the game, 15 points. Granger against Smith. And George kicks to Hibbert. 5 to shoot. In for the dunk.
That's probably going to do it. They are just putting this team away.
Steve, I thought they caught fire just at the right time, blowing this one wide open as the clock winds down.
And last year's playoffs, so entertaining, Clark. Some competitive series. Steve, really an open field.
Yeah, it really is. There's so many good young teams in the NBA right now, and some of the older, more talented teams maybe on the way downhill. So this is going to be fascinating the next few years to see which teams can break through and get to that top level.
It's a 4-second differential between the shot clock and game clock. Here's Granger up and in on the layup. And the Pacers lead by 13.
Well, they're just trying to run clock now. I mean, this thing is pretty much over.
Yeah, there's nothing but the result to be determined. So it's time to start thinking about the next game now.
Heinrich from outside misses there. So no problem for Indiana as they get the win.